So we're going to go ahead and explore a little deeper into the sort of things that we can do with Context Admin. As its name suggests, we can actually consume contexts of the page that we're on. These are page manager contexts, and so what I want to do is I want to do a demonstration of that. So again, sticking with our news module that we're building here, if I visit a given news article, you'll see it's fairly bland. All I have is a title, any topics it might be in, and a body. Everything else is just very much your typical node settings. But often with news, we want to have some sort of images come along with it. And instead of actually adding these to an image field on the node, which can become kind of difficult to manage in the long term if you want to use them in some sort of secondary gallery system or something like that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of go with more of an old school D6 approach and make an entirely separate node for it. Now I've gone ahead and taken the liberty of doing that. So if we come into content types, you'll see that I have a news image content type now. And if we come in and we look at manage fields on it, you'll see that we have a image field, caption, which is really just the body renamed, and then we have an article field through the node reference. So what we're going to do here is we don't really want to have to deal with filling out node references. That can be a real pain. So what we want to do is we want to have Context Admin do that work for us. So on the actual news article itself, I just want to have a very simple add images button, and so let's go ahead and do that. Now, since this is attached to the node, we're going to pass the node as an argument through our path, and it'll actually be on a subpath to that. I'm going to pop this up in an overlay. Again, still using Context Admin, access controls, invisible menu items, continue. Now, because of the argument that we passed in our path, we're going to have to go ahead and define what that argument is. So if we come in here, we'll just tell it that we want it to be a node, and so it'll load up node IDs, and the full node object will come to us in the context stack. Now we're going to get a little bit more in depth here on the access controls, because since we have a node context, you see here it is, we can choose what node types to actually show this menu item on. And so we only want it to show on news, but we also want the user to have a particular permission. And so we'll check to make sure they actually have the permission to create new news images. So this is an ANDed statement. You can see all criteria must pass. You could also set it to only one criteria must pass, but just know that this stuff is here. So we're going to do a local action, add images. Then we're going to create a node with auto node reference. Now this is only available to us because we passed the node context. If we didn't pass a node context, we wouldn't have this plugin available to us. Then in here, you're going to get a listing of all node types that are available that have a node reference field on them. So you know that we have a news node type. But that's not showing here because there is no node reference on it. So if I select news image, then it's going to give me a list of all node references that are actually on this content type, this node type. So if we choose to have more than one of those, we can specify which one we want to be auto-populating. Now I only have one, so it'll be article. And then we have a few more options here. I'm actually going to choose to forward the user back to the page they were on before they created this node, but if we wanted to, we could actually provide a custom redirect path, and you have an entire group of substitutions here. And this substitutions area actually can be expanded significantly by what items you add to the context of this page. So if you wanted to load up the author of the node and then forward to something having to do with that user after they create, you could totally do that. So, I mean, the example's kind of contrived, but it gives you an idea of the sort of things that you could do here. And we're just going to redirect back to the original page and hit finish. So we'll go ahead and hit update and save, and then visit our node. And you'll see I now have that add images link that I was looking for. So when I click this, it's going to pop up, give me the ability to add an image. Image 1, browse, just grab an image out of my test group here. This is a caption, and we'll hit save. Now you'll notice that we're still on article 1 because I told it to forward us back here. But if we come in to find content, there is image 1, which we just added. So if we review it, you can see here's our title, our caption, our image, none of which I've formatted, and then down here we have that node reference. Now if you recall, we didn't actually fill out a node reference, so coming back to news, let's take a look at that. We have our title, we have our image, we have our caption, but there is no actual node reference field on here because since we set the context for that stuff and context admin knows what it is that we want, it's actually removing our need to even fill that out. And so it form alters it out of this form entirely, but only in this use case. If we were to manually go to add content news image, you would find that you still have the node reference here. Anyways, it doesn't matter what type of widget you use for the node reference, any will work, and I hope you find this a very useful feature.